materials. Let's start off with Sherwin-Williams. This is, I mean, this is when they did their 3 for 1 and we went straight up. But look what's very interesting. Now, again, this was the market route. Like it was terrible for everything. However, we closed above the 50% and had a pretty decent day to where it could, I mean, that's the 50% from here, from the day that they split, right? So it's if Sherwin Williams has turned the corner, then that is massively good news, and we'd be looking for this number right around here, the 306. So that we're looking at maybe give or take about 33 points from here. So it looks promising. Yeah, I'd start trying to get in, a little bit right here. Make sure you give yourself the gift of time. Mosaic, terrible, just ugly. It's been in a nasty drop since, basically June. 518 is when we made our little high, and then since we've just fallen off a cliff. I mean, days on days, we've just crashed. This is last Friday. I would 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Last Thursday was a nasty day, but we looks like we might have found some support, at least a little bit of hope. Um, I wouldn't stay away. I'd stay away from this until it gets above the 50. When it gets above the 50, then I'm interested. But until then, I'm not really interested. Maybe for a short back down to 25. But other than that, I'm not paying attention to that. Kind of same with IP. However, IP is looking. I mean, you have to takes things in consideration. We hit the 127 extension. So that's basically like feed the ducks. We needed to drop down to recharge ourselves. Now, are we at the 786? Is that what do you want to call it? The end of the retracement, of the end of the pullback? I'm not sure. However, if we do not, because this is what, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, if we stay above that 59.48, I would play that number. I'd play that number. As long as it stays above that number, I'd be long. If it starts to crater below that, then I would be careful and might change my perspective. RIO, another one, which is just a pain in the butt. We were doing amazing back in the beginning of May, but then we have just lost everything. Lost our footing, lost everything. Um, this is, you gotta be very careful with this. It has a lot to do with mining. Well, it's a mining company. Be careful. And the reason I say be careful, look at the gaps, right? You do not want to be caught on the wrong side of this gap because it has the potential to run extremely fast and then turn on a dime, right? So I'd almost want to say, this sounds crazy when I'm about to say this. I almost would say once people stop talking about inflation and all this other ya about metals and everything else, then get in here. But as long as we're talking about inflation and the price of steel and the price of lumber, and it's not a lumber company, but it's still commodities. If we're talking about the price of commodities, then this is going to have downward pressure. When people stop talking about it, this is probably going to just take off. Why? Because it's no longer in the news, right? Everyone's worried about inflation right now for one reason. We're talking about it. But if they were not talking about it, we would not be, it wouldn't matter. But this is perfect. What are we since inflation has been the big topic, what's the topic that no one's been paying attention to? Corona, right? So it's just changing the story. So the narrative in right now is we're switching from the corona narrative to inflation. Nobody like it. Good news is never, it doesn't sell for a long time, right? Bad news sells for a while. So the fact that, reopening, yeah, woohoo, but that doesn't scare anybody. So no one's worried about it. They're just happy about it and go spend their money. Inflation, ooh, it's scary. It's something to talk about. Everyone has an opinion, right? Everyone's, what I'm saying? It's an arguable discussion. as in with the open trade's not an arguable discussion anymore, right? A year ago it was arguable to open or not to open, but now it's like everyone's like, yes, just open. Don't have to wear the mask, all this other kind of good stuff. It's not a story anymore. So they need to create a story and they need to get our minds off from thinking about Corona. The more they can scare us with something else, the less we're going to be scared about Corona. BASF. I mean, this has just been sitting in no man's land. It's gone up maybe $1 and down $1. It hasn't gone anywhere. Okay, this one doesn't play. Sorry, this doesn't trade options, but again, it doesn't. It looks kind of like it's for the short, so just be careful. But I'm surprised this is as down as it is with. Well, it could be that because it's a huge. It has a lot to do with petroleum. Um, I don't know why it's down. I thought they had a lot of pipelines and things. However, it could make sense that now their products that they're making are more expensive. Dow Chemical, as you can hear my stomach, I apologize. Um, Little double top right here. Just watch. Or really, it's kind of like a head and shoulder, head, weird shoulder over here. I would say we're out of the woodwork, but I wouldn't be too convinced. Like if this bar was brought us up to above the 64, then yes, but it kind of looks like we want to test this 61 and go down to the 69 or the 59. DuPont, we were at beautiful right here 10 points ago. But since that point in time, it has been just sell and what sell in May and go away basically because it started in May and at the end of May, basically June 8th, it has gone nowhere. Watch for the 74 test. If it doesn't catch up, then look for the 67. Again, like I've been saying, this is what I mean. If you've noticed something, if you're paying attention to not just this one video, but to the other videos as well, you'll notice a shift. You'll notice a lot of money going into two sectors and kind of like leaving other sectors. So basic materials looks like they're leaving basic materials and entering into the financials. And all these were basically at highs, and now this is 18 points away from the high. That's a decent move. We're back to the 50, right? We hit the 100, now we're back at the 50. So, one or two things, they could continue down, or this could be a beautiful spot to get long. But just make sure that you're very careful and don't just go out there willy nilly in it. Eco Lab, we are back in our range that we had built a while ago. I don't know when I built those lines. However, I built them. We left support. Excuse me, man. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. Why am I yawning? I know why. Because I'm sitting on this bed and my body's turned, so it's not getting all the oxygen. And then when I'm talking, the oxygen is leaving my body even faster. So that's why I'm yawning. Because I'm not tired. I would like to see it come down to this 203, hold support at the 203, and then if it as long as it holds it right there, then look because we got rejected here on one occasion, two occasion, and then we kind of just like coming down. Now we're still high and tight. Don't get me wrong, but I would like to see it kind of come down to 203 and hold 203 and then go from there. Scott's Miracle Grow for the summer. I'm surprised that this has so basically your entire well, this is spring. That makes sense, spring. But it's outdoor time. So why are you crashing? You should be rising, right? Because that's just what I would be thinking. So since it's not, I would be kind of nervous. And if you remember right around here, we drew our bars right here. These are the bars I was referring to, not on Ecoline or Ecolab. I apologize. This original drop on May 18th has just seen Scott's Miracle Grow just go to to poop, like kerplump. We were holding tight for what, 1 week, and then once we broke, we we broke. So uh, let's see right here. It went all the way down to zero line. If we can hold this, it's not the part of that sequence of Fibonacci. However, if we can hold this, then it's a higher low, and look for it to maybe turn and start going higher. Because we are what, we're 60, above 60 points away from where we were as simple as in, or as soon as April. So just be careful, watch, and if it holds this 188, 185 area, look to get long.